What's up, everybody? It's Sid and Millie back with another episode. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Facts.
We'll be chatting about another city that we've traveled to,
hmm
and a city that we hold in high regard in this country. So,
Yeah. So this will be our first travel video regarding an American city, one that we've been to a few times, and yeah, honestly, pretty safe to say the best American city. I
yes,
think.
fair
I
enough.
think it's fair to say.
Yeah, so if you haven't guessed already, we're talking about New York City.
New York City, New York, New York.
Yes,
Yes,
baby.
I think it is pretty obvious why New York City is the best city in the United States, but maybe it isn't that obvious. So we're going to go through. Obviously, I think New York has a lot of misconceptions about it,
Definitely.
especially in the way that people who haven't been there or spent time there kind of view the city as an outsider. But
Mm-hmm.
I feel like once you're there, you kind of understand why it is one of the most visited cities on earth. And specifically in the United States, it is the most visited city in the United States.
Yes.
And yeah, that speaks volumes.
Yeah, absolutely. It really does. Yeah. And like, obviously, New York gets a bad rap. New York City gets a bit of a
Facts.
bad reputation, bad rap.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
but we don't think it deserves that. I think it's coming from a place of misunderstanding and
Yeah.
maybe just like lack of travel from a lot of people who maybe think that New York City is a bad place to be.
I
Like,
know.
I just think that it comes maybe from a lack of experience and like travel
Yeah,
from some
definitely.
people that
Yeah,
are
100%. Yeah, that's such a good way to kind of categorize that because that's really the only reason in which anybody would dislike New York City. Because again, when you go there, when you're in the energy in the city that never sleeps, you kind of understand kind of its really good qualities,
yes.
and you kind of come to accept some of the bad things, so to speak, because you know that some of those things just come with living in a city, you
Yeah,
know.
true.
But again, if your perspective is too small, you won't really understand that.
Yeah, very true. I mean, everybody has their preferences. So
Yeah,
if
yeah.
your preference is not the city, then we get that. And this is just kind of our opinion on
Yeah,
why we think New York City is such a great place for
yeah.
being in the United States.
100%. So the first thing I'll get into is the melting pot of New York City. New York City is a beautiful mesh of all of the cultures that make up the American people. It
Facts.
is a beautiful melting pot of cultures and personalities and languages from all over the world. It is one of the most diverse cities on the planet, and that is a beautiful thing. Diversity is a strength in our species, and New York City just embodies that. I mean, there is
True.
someone of everything in New York City, and there is something for everyone in New York City.
Yeah,
And
very
that's like
true.
super cool to me.
Yeah, I fully agree with you. I think it makes me feel a lot more comfortable when there
Mm,
is a larger, diverse group of people in a city, especially because, that just means that everyone kind of has more of an understanding of what
hmm
that looks like.
Right.
I feel like there's not as much of like that white gaze, I guess, when you're walking
Yeah,
around a
exactly.
place.
Exactly. 100%. And I mean, if you were watching our video that we made previously on some of the other cities we've been to, you would know that that's something that we talk about sometimes that you experience when you're in some of these other places. That just isn't the reality in New York City. Because in New York, it kind of seems they almost have like that Jamaican mindset
Mm,
of many one people. Like everyone understands that everyone comes from different places. No one is
yes.
from New York. You're not the Native Americans that once inhabited this land. So, unless you are a Native American or, an ancient person, there's no way you're actually from this place. So that's
Right.
why it's really cool that New Yorkers kind of have that like New York mentality. They kind of have that we are from this dope city. We're from this cool place. And so they have pride in that, have pride
Hmm.
in where they're from, in the city they're from, and the different elements of their city. And I think that that's really cool to actually have pride in the place you come from, because it's something to be proud of. So that's a really cool part of New York City.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it is a good city to be proud of for people. I
Yeah,
really do. I feel like, that is something to have pride in for this
yeah,
country because that
definitely,
is such a good exemplification of what this country is supposed to look like and how it's
100%.
supposed to be reacting and acting towards groups of people and like everybody, like
Yeah.
Millie said, of many one people, it's a melting pot and it's great.
Yeah, it really is. And as we know, New York City was such a, through Ellis Island, was such a huge place for immigration, especially in the 1900s and other periods in American history, even dating further back when large sums of people from Europe and from all over the world were coming to our country and using New York as an entry port. And, you know, my family even came to New York, and although they didn't come on ships, they flew in. But at the same time, that was still where my family touched down when they came from abroad.
Oh,
They
wow.
We met in, well, my both of my parents separately moved to New York with their respective families, and that's where they ended up meeting. So yeah, just a really cool melting pot of cultures and people. And yeah, it leads to some pretty phenomenal things.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. That's so cute.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then another kind of obvious point that maybe is slept on a little bit is that New York City is the economic powerhouse of the United States. The United States economy, our GDP, does not exist in this capacity without New York City.
Mm,
New York City subsidizes states that cannot afford their bill every year, right? That's something people forget about,
tea.
that New York City alone is funding states in our country. So it's just something to think about when people are judging New York City or giving it harsh criticisms. Just remember that it literally funds the United States. We literally wouldn't have certain states functioning if it weren't for the excess of tax dollars that New York City provides to the US economy. So just from an economic standpoint, New York City is the heart of our country.
Yes.
And you can feel that when you're there as well. It is so bustling, always busy. Wall Street, kind of a crazy place. And yeah, you can see why this place is the economic powerhouse of our country. And
The
it's
city
just
that never sleeps,
exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's undisputable.
Yeah, no, it's so true. I mean, like you just said, it's literally funding other states and subsidizing other states that
Yep,
are not producing as much
yep,
and bringing in as much money, and they're not as strong economically.
yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, it's undisputable. You really cannot argue
Yeah.
against that.
So that's just another cool thing of New York City and why it's such an important city in the United States. But another thing is also like the politics in the city, right? We
Mm-hmm.
talked about like the safety element of not having like the gaze on us because it is such a melting pot of different cultures and peoples.
Yeah,
But also just the fact that it is a progressive city, the fact that the people in the city want to continue to progress forward. They want
facts.
human beings to have rights for each other. They want people to have bodily autonomy, and that's the way they vote. And they elected a mayor that represents that through Zoran Memdani, and he's
Yeah,
done a fantastic job in the city. So I think New Yorkers can be proud of the fact that they finally have a representative that is upholding the vision of the city.
facts. Yes, so
So
true.
cool,
I mean,
yeah,
Zoran Mamdani, he is the
yeah,
like
he's the
high
goat.
tier of politicians
Yeah, by
because
far the best in the country.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, just look at what he's doing. I mean,
Already
already,
already providing thousands of meals for millions of New York City families for their children in schools, helping bring down the cost of living by instituting a rent freeze, helping by bringing landlords to court for taking advantage of tenants and not upgrading apartments, but continuing to raise rent, just fighting for the people,
yeah,
opening community grocery stores. The list goes on and on.
facts.
But yeah, Zoran has been such an amazing addition to New York City. And, you know, as the mayor, I think he's bringing some really great things and ideas and fresh perspectives to the city. And it's just reverberating a very positive energy.
Yeah, absolutely. And another thing that he's been doing is just like being accessible to the people and allowing
Yep.
people to basically like tweet at him and send pictures of potholes. That's been one of his huge
Yeah,
initiatives. Send
literally.
pictures of potholes, put the location, and he's been out there, boots on the ground, like helping out with filling potholes, working with the
Facts.
people, and like actually doing things that are going to make day-to-day life better. Because I mean, we all complain about the roads in this country. I mean, you drive down some back roads and they are scary. I mean, yeah, you got potholes out the wazoo, literally. So yeah, just like little things like that that really show people he cares about them and he
Yeah.
cares about making the place that they are living a better place.
Yeah, he's a true civil servant, and that's really cool that the people of New York have that, and the
Facts.
people of New York City can enjoy that and continue to get things done through their mayor, and continue to progress the city and keep making it better. So
Facts.
that's just fantastic to see on the political element of the city.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
continuing on here, I think the next thing that we could chat about is just food. Food in New York
Hmm.
City. I
I
don't think
mean,
anywhere in the country comes close.
how could it?
Comes anywhere
How could
close.
it?
I mean, the plethora of options
Yeah.
alone, that alone.
And the authenticity, because like you said, it's
Yeah,
a
yep,
melting pot. So you have
yep,
a lot of very authentic food places coming
exactly.
up.
There is literally no type of food that you can't get in New York City. Anything you can acquire, and you can acquire it from authentic vendors, people
Yes.
who are from that country or have lived there or whatever it may be.
Just grew up learning about the
Yeah,
recipes from their grandparents, like just
exactly.
all of those
Yeah,
things.
so again, the city being a melting pot, it raises the level of all sorts of things, and food is definitely a massive one.
Yeah.
And it's not just like authentic food from foreign places that's fantastic, but they also do like American cuisine really
Mm-hmm.
well. You're talking brunch, New York City.
No,
I
genuinely.
one of the first times we went, you remember that rooftop brunch that we went to? Yeah,
Yeah,
that was
that
so
was
fire.
so good. That was
So
so
good.
good. We found that
Yeah.
on like a whim. We were like, let's just go check this out. And
Yep,
then
yep.
it was super cute. Yeah, we
It
had like a
was.
little rooftop patio kind of brunch.
Yeah, that was
Little,
fire.
yeah, that was super
Yeah,
cute.
just so much good food, like all throughout, of any type of food, any cuisine. Like New York City is where you want to be for food. If
Facts.
you're a foodie, you love it there.
Yes,
Definitely.
definitely.
There's so many viral places as well. Like it's not just like virality, Michelin star, but like there's also a mix of like accessible places too that
Yeah,
you can make a quick reservation and pop into, and that's like
definitely.
really cool.
And just like delis, bagel shops,
Yeah.
just like
Oh, we didn't even talk about the bagels.
I know. I'm just thinking, like,
Food.
not
Yes.
even a sit down place,
Yeah,
thinking about the
facts.
pizza, the
Facts.
sandwiches, like,
Yeah, well, I remember when we were staying in like Wall Street, one of our favorite things was to do is wake up in the morning and walk over to a little deli and get like our breakfast bagels and coffee
yeah,
and stuff like before we started our day, and it
yeah,
was such a good vibe. It was so
genuinely,
cool.
yeah.
And like that, as I just said, we were walking around the city. Most American cities are not like that. I don't. We live in North Carolina. I don't know if anybody has been to cities in North Carolina, whether it's Asheville, Charlotte, Raleigh, Greensboro. You can't walk in
You're
any of them.
driving.
You can't walk in any of
You're
them.
driving.
You get out of your car and walk to your destination, but you're not actually walking.
No.
And that is just a beautiful part of New York City, is the accessibility.
Yeah, 100%. That was definitely one of the points that I wanted to touch on as well. Just
Yeah, I
like,
get
I
it.
mean, not only can you walk, I mean, it's a pretty
It's a
expansive
huge city.
city.
You can't
So
walk everywhere. I'm
you
not
can't
telling you
walk
to walk from
everywhere.
Harlem to Wall Street,
Yeah, I mean,
obviously.
crazy. But like, you also have a train system. It's not perfect, but it's something. It
Yeah.
actually moves people around. So,
Millions of Americans every single day are moved
yeah.
around with New York City's metro system.
Wow. So, great stat right
Yeah.
there. So, I mean, that is what keeps the city moving, right?
Yeah.
If everybody in the city was having to drive a car or take the bus, it wouldn't be
And
possible. The
there's
city would
already
be so like clogged up. What were you
yeah,
gonna
well,
say?
just that there's already too many people on the road in the city.
Definitely.
Even despite the access of public transportation,
Facts.
there's already still too many cars.
Yeah, it's so true. Yeah, and I mean, like you also have not only trains to get around the city, but you also have major international airports right
Yeah.
there as well that you
Two
can
of them,
access
yeah.
by train.
Yeah,
Right. So
facts.
like you also have accessibility to the other places and
Yeah.
fly for probably a little cheaper just because you are in such a big city.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. And I mean, New York is another one of those places, kind of like when we were talking about Amsterdam, where you can land at the airport, you can land in JFK and never touch a car if you don't want to. You can land, take the tram from the airport straight into Jamaica, from Jamaica straight into Central Station, and get anywhere in the city from there. Get on any metro line. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So that sort of connectivity is amazing. No other American city has that sort of access to transportation.
Facts.
And that's why so many American cities are so stagnant in comparison to New York City. It's because of how well they're able to move people around.
Mhm.
People are getting to work on time because they're not sitting in traffic. They're hopping on the train, right?
Facts.
And again, we know that there are issues with the subway. We know that trains run late sometimes, but let's all be honest about what it's like driving your car to work. You know what I'm saying? The fact that there are other options for you to get there, that is what makes all the difference, because it cuts down on people on the road, which then makes the roads more accessible. And then we move more people via trains and stuff.
Facts.
So it just makes so much sense. And their systems, they work. I mean, they're old, they're outdated, they need to be updated, but they work.
Yeah, genuinely. And that's all we can really ask for, isn't it? I mean,
yeah, in this country.
yeah. One of the
Bare
only
minimum.
cities with any sort of like train system that
Yeah.
runs throughout the city. You know, like
Yeah.
there's some anomalies like Charlotte that have a little
light rail. I know
system.
Chicago's got some
Chicago's
trains
got
as
some
well.
trains. So
But just nothing is comparable on a scale
mm-mm.
to New York City in
Facts.
the United States. And that, yeah, it's just, it elevates the experience so much, because you can go to Times Square, you can go to Central Park, you can go to Wall Street, all in a single day, because
Yeah.
you're able to take the train to and from those places and get to and from those places very quickly.
True.
It really makes all the difference if you're trying to do the city, you know, in an authentic way.
Yeah.
Obviously, you can taxi and Uber if you're lazy,
but you're
but
gonna be sitting in traffic, so I don't
Yeah.
know if you really want to do that.
yeah, definitely. So yeah, the infrastructure in the city is really good. They also have a little bit of like the biking infrastructure. They have city bikes.
Mhm.
They have bike lanes in some areas. So there is that accessibility once again that
Yeah.
allows people to get around without using their car, and that's amazing.
Yeah, genuinely so amazing. I forgot what I was gonna say. Yeah, but did you have anything else on that point before?
No.
Because I forgot what I was gonna say.
That's okay.
So anyway, another thing with New York City is just like the amenities, right? The amenities, the things to do, your ability to like go to concerts, go to shows, go to like
the theater,
go to the theater, yeah, go see
sports,
yeah, literally sports playing, and yeah. So huge benefit
museums,
of New York City.
Yeah, there's so many museums. There's all sorts of things like that. We actually went and saw Manchester United play at MetLife Stadium. As you know, if you're here, we're big Manchester United fans. So when they were doing their preseason tour in the United States, was it last year or the year before?
No, it was the year before.
Last, yeah, when they were in the States, we got to see them in
South
MetLife.
Carolina last year.
Right.
Yeah. So big difference. So yeah, just like so many things that you could do.
Yeah, we took the train into the stadium. We took the train from the stadium. Like it was massively nice. Like that's something that you just can't get in other cities. And yeah, like Sid said, for comparison, when we went and saw Manchester United play down in South Carolina at the Gamecock Stadium, it was like there was nothing around. It was just the stadium. There was no trains. We had to drive. We had to park. We had to walk a mile. Like, yeah, it was a terrible experience. But those are things you just don't have to deal with in New York City because there is that accessibility, which is sick.
Yeah, so true. Yeah, literally.
Just and I know MetLife is in Jersey. Don't swing on me, but you get it. The New York City metropolitan area.
Yeah, we were staying in New York City. And like that just literally even further explains our point of the accessibility and the, like the trains and everything.
Yeah.
Goes all the way there. Yeah. So
to Jersey, right? Yeah, because I lived in Jersey City when I was working in New York City. So I was commuting back and forth from Jersey City into the city every day. So yeah, it just speaks to how accessible it is when you're commuting via train, never have to touch a car. I didn't own a car. I was walking to the grocery store.
Yeah.
It was just fantastic. You know, here in North Carolina, we got to drive to do anything. We can't walk anywhere except for the mailbox.
Yeah, literally that's it. Oh my gosh. Yeah, so I mean the amenities are great. I feel like there's just so much to do. Like you said, museums. Yeah. There's like all the parks around. I mean shows and everything.
And it's like a historical place. Like there's also a lot of like architecture like that you can check out in different places. I mean, the Brooklyn Bridge is beautiful. The Chelsea area surrounding the Brooklyn Bridge is also a really cool area.
Oh, cool. Okay.
And so there are a lot of places in the city where you can also kind of get that like older feel, that like older American culture, which is really cool. You can see like the European influence on like the buildings in certain parts of the city,
Oh, okay.
just in terms of like how close they are.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
it's
yeah.
very reminiscent of a European city, New York
Mm-hmm.
City, with the closeness, which allows more people to live in such close proximity.
Facts.
And then yeah, I mean, if you're a tower person, obviously there's tons of buildings. You've got
High
World
rises
Trade
and
One.
yeah.
Yeah, you've got all
Mm-hmm.
of those sorts of
Empire State
things.
Building. You can go up to the top and look out if you wanna.
If that's your thing, yeah, there's all sorts of things like that. So all of those factors definitely make it like such a cool place to be,
Yes.
such a cool place to visit, especially. But yeah, it's just like, again, one of the best cities in our country, and I think it's by a long shot. It's really not
Definitely.
close, because no city is really giving you the accessibility, access to this much culture via infrastructure as New York does. So
Yeah, so true, Millie.
yeah.
So true.
Yeah, so I guess now, with all of that being said, it's only fair we talk about some of the bad parts about New York.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the cleanliness could be one of them.
Yes.
Just off the top of my head.
Yes.
Immediate thought.
Yeah, the trash mountains are crazy when it's trash day.
Rats.
Yeah,
Every
rats.
city kind of
But
got its
yeah,
rats,
exactly. I just feel like if you've been, maybe we're a bit desensitized because we've been to Paris, because we've been to Amsterdam, because we've been to Brussels, because we've been to New York City. So when we see like rats on the street in a city, we're not like, we're
yeah,
like,
well, depends on how close they are.
and how big they
Liverpool.
are.
We were kind of worried about those rats.
Those Liverpool rats, though, were not afraid of humans. That was serious.
Yeah.
That was serious. But I guess New York City rats also sometimes. My brother swears he's seen a rat pulling a whole pizza, dragging it back. And so the rats there are
funny.
pretty crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the trash, it's a lot of people, right? There's a lot of people living in close proximity. So when trash day rolls around, we know what the New Yorkers do. They pile up these mountains of trash, typically around chest height. I'm about 6 foot. They're about like stomach, chest height on me.
So tall.
Yeah, so pretty high mounds of trash, which you'll see around the city. So, but I will say, with that being said, it typically is done like at night. It's usually like people put their trash out the night before the trash comes. And the trash service in New York City and the surrounding areas is pretty on point. I mean, they're up very early in the morning getting that trash out of there, even though you do see it at nights. They're pretty good at removal.
Yeah, definitely. They're definitely efficient. So
yeah, and we've seen that in a few cities as well. Like Amsterdam, same thing. They've got the street sweepers that come through and clean up after a Saturday night. Like New York is kind of the same way, but it's hard not to acknowledge and recognize that you are going to see a bunch of trash.
Yeah, so true. Yeah, I mean, you can't really deny it. It's got that, like, when I think of New York City's like cleanliness, it has that city smell.
Yeah.
Like New York City really has that city smell.
It does. It's kind of like what you think of when you think of city smell.
Yeah, well, I was like, maybe that's just the New York City smell.
Maybe it's just the New York smell.
I've always been like, oh, this city doesn't smell like New York City.
I know.
Like, it's so much nicer, but maybe that is just the New York City smell.
Yeah.
I feel like when we went to like Lisbon for the first time, we were like, oh, it doesn't really have like a smell.
Yeah, so true. So yeah, that is a big part of that.
Yeah.
And I guess like kind of piggybacking off of that, you can call out the fact that it's a concrete jungle.
Yes.
I mean, there isn't a lot of trees. There isn't a lot of green space. I know Central Park is there. I know Battery Park is there. We spent a lot of time in Battery Park when we were staying in the Wall Street area. So we know that green spaces do exist in New York City.
Yes.
But overall, the city is a concrete jungle. It's undeniable.
Yeah, I mean, it's literally called the concrete jungle. Central Park can only go so far, like it really, I mean.
Yeah, and it can be a bit depressing, right?
Yeah.
Like it's very gray, it's very like the glass buildings, like though that is not a pleasant sight for people like us that are very like in tune with nature and plants and can appreciate.
Tiring real quick.
Yeah, you look up, you can't see the sky, you're seeing the buildings, those sorts of things. It can wear on your psyche a little bit, because human beings, again, as we know, we're connected to nature, we're connected with the energy of plants and those sorts of things. So being in a space that doesn't offer a lot of that, it can be draining on like your energy. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, like the trees that are there are very much just like in cages or covered by concrete. Like it's
Yeah,
not really conducive. Like you can tell the trees aren't thriving. They're
exactly.
not doing well. They're like kind of
Yeah.
struggling because they don't have the space to be able to grow.
Yeah, 100%. And the ironic thing with that is that in New York City, when it's hot in the summer, the heat just reverberates off the buildings and the concrete and makes it so hot.
Yeah.
And trees would actually bring down the surface temperature of the streets if they planted more trees more
Wow.
intentionally.
Mm-hmm.
They could actually bring down the surface temperature on the street so it wouldn't be as scorching for people who are there. Because when we were there in the summer, it was hot as balls. We
So
were
hot.
sweating anytime we walked.
Yeah, it's just kind of miserable. I mean, you're
Yeah.
walking outside, it's just like reflections of the sun or the sun beating down on you and like
Yeah,
you don't really, and I mean on the same point with the trees, the city probably wouldn't even smell as bad as it does if there were
more
more
trees because they
trees to
filter the
clean the
air.
air.
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly. Yeah,
So
so
yeah,
true.
so I feel like
So
that definitely would make a huge difference in the city as well.
yeah, but again, there's just not a whole lot of intentionality behind that. And
Or
again, when
space.
everything, well, yeah, definitely the space element, but also just like when every block of land that's available, when that's bought and owned by that construction company, it's like they're only thinking about their little block of land. They're
Yeah.
not thinking about the entire city street and how they could benefit the city. And that's kind of a sad part about it is because when all of these buildings are being built in New York City or renovated or whatever it may be, there should be some intentionality behind trying to further cool down the street temperatures.
Facts.
That should be a mandate that probably like the city itself puts in place. Otherwise, yeah, they'll never escape the concrete jungle allegations.
Mm-mm, no.
Not at this rate,
Honestly,
because
no.
there's just no green, not
Yeah.
enough green, not enough green to sustain like the psyche, I think.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
definitely not. Yeah. And I guess like one of the other things that we could talk about just with regards to negatives would just be like living space,
Yeah,
you
living
know?
space and expense. Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. Because I mean, it is the most expensive city in the world. Like that in the entire world, the most expensive city to live in. So
That
end
says a
end
lot.
statement.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
I mean, like, I have seen so many videos, pictures. I'm sure everybody has seen videos and pictures of what a typical New York City apartment looks like for someone,
yeah,
especially for someone who's not like rich or
rich.
someone who's
Yeah,
budgeting, you know? Like,
yep,
those, they're basically closets. That's literally what I always think of. I'm like, okay, yeah, that's a closet because
yeah.
most of them are studios and they're charging insane rent for them.
Yeah, it's super true. And that's kind of why Zoran is working so hard with these rent freezes and trying to
Yeah.
hold some of these landlords accountable as well. And yeah, within that, another big thing we're seeing is like roommates. People
Mm-hmm.
have to live with multiple people in order to make ends meet
Yep.
because of the inflated prices that Sid mentioned. So yeah, the livability of New York City is really difficult in terms of not only having enough space for yourself, but being able to afford space.
Yeah.
It's a real issue. It's a real challenge. There is a housing crisis that's happening in that city, and thankfully they have a mayor who's trying to address it. But the reality is it is still an issue. It's still a
Yeah.
crisis. So it will take time to solve it. But yeah, they've got to bring those rent prices down and offer up a little bit more space.
Definitely. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's just not sustainable for people. Like that just feeds into so many mental health like
Yeah,
things, you know.
yeah, definitely. It's like I know people are thinking to themselves, oh, I'll live in this shoebox, but then I'll enjoy everything out in the city itself. But the reality is that you can't always be out. You can't always be doing something. Like you will have to spend that time at your place
Yeah.
of residence, at your home.
Right.
And the reality is if you're not comfortable in a very tight space, it's going to make your life kind of rough.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
true. Yeah, very
Yeah,
true.
that's a good
So,
one.
yeah.
Another one I would say would be like the homeless population, right?
Mm,
New York City does have a large population of homeless people. You will see the homeless around the city, asking for money, asking for water, asking for food in various places. And it's not necessarily like the homeless themselves that are the issue, but
right.
more so what homeless people represent, right? Homeless people represent failures in our capitalistic system. That's what it represents. It represents this need for wealth and this need for the production of value that has essentially excluded human beings from the system. And in the process, those people are now unhoused and are living on the streets. And so, yeah, I just think a city as big as New York City, with how many abandoned houses they have, with how many abandoned buildings they have, something could be done to help the homeless out.
Definitely.
A building can be restructured, repurposed to be a homeless shelter in the city,
Yeah.
and help get these people back together with their lives, get them housing, try and get them a job, maybe within the building, whatever that looks like. Could be cleaning, build. I mean, it doesn't matter, right? But start somewhere. I think, abandoning your homeless population, it is a poor reflection of the society. You're only as good as your weakest link. That's like one of the earliest phrases we learned in childhood. And yeah, if you have a city with a homeless population, your city is really only as good as your homeless people are.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very true, because it is a huge representation of what has gone wrong in our society, and the programs that we don't have available for people who are in tough circumstances and people who don't have the means to be able to pay rent, get a job. Like there's so much that goes into that. It's not just, oh, they were lazy, didn't get a job, and now they're homeless. That's literally not even the case at all.
That's just like the ignorant perspective. It's a very ignorant perspective, because there's always things, causes that lead a person to that space in their life. And again, most Americans don't even have $1,000 in a savings account. So to think that that couldn't be you in this current system with no safety net to help and protect you, it's massively naive, because it could happen to anybody. So that's just something I just wanted to call out. New York City's got a big unhoused population, and those are human beings as well. Those are Americans as well. They deserve our support. They deserve our protection. They deserve food. They deserve housing. They're human beings. I just really hope that New York City and other major cities will do more to help these populations of people rather than abandon them, because again, we have to view our species as a whole, and no one should be going hungry or unhoused. Yeah,
fully agree. I fully agree. Yeah, there's so much that we could do to make life better for everybody. And big failures in that regard.
Yeah, failures of our system. And then New York City, obviously, as the biggest, economy in the world, it's kind of like the home of it.
It's the
genuinely home of the capitalist idea. That's something that will be a long-term issue, but
definitely,
hopefully. And then next, I would say, is like the noise, right? It's the city that never sleeps.
Yeah, the noise and the light. The noise and the light pollution, the noise pollution and the light pollution.
God. Good luck seeing a star.
I always hear this. And I mean, when we went to New York City, we did not see stars because there's so much light pollution. Didn't see the moon. I don't know if that's from the light pollution or if
no. We would have seen. Well, it was probably just the buildings. I mean, walking around on the streets, it was really hard to see the moon because all of the buildings in the way.
Yes.
I'm sure we might have just gotten unlucky while we were there, but it was still just like every time we were trying to look up, building.
Yeah, the buildings were all in the way, literally. So it's just like, you're so enclosed in this little bubble and you're not able to see the stars. You're not connected with the universe. Like you're hearing so much noise, your brain can't even. It's just constant traffic, constant like white noise almost. Literally. Not even just white noise, but like
just constant, man. Like constant. Like you really, it's interesting. Like you really kind of get used to the city noise, and then when you are taken out of the city, that's when you realize how quiet other places are. And New York City exemplifies that so much.
Genuinely.
Because once you go outside of the city, it's like, oh man, dead silent out here.
Genuinely. Well, even like sometimes here we'll be like outside, it's late and it's so quiet, and I'm like, that's so weird, because usually you have kind of like a constant hum of cars driving on the road, right? But then it's like when it's actually quiet, you're like, hello.
Facts. You're hearing all the bugs and shit. No, for real. So I think that's definitely something. It takes away from it a little bit, especially for us as people who like looking at the stars, like stargazing, like tracking the moon cycles, like that stuff that we're into. So a big ass city like that, it makes it difficult to really attach to those elements of nature that you can get outside of the city. So that would definitely be a drawback for us.
Absolutely. I didn't even think about that. What else you got?
Well, I guess another one for me would be the police presence.
Oh, yeah.
I think, the NYPD is massively overfunded. Murders in New York City are at historical lows, and yet the NYPD is still such a massively funded thing. And in my brain, I just feel like if that money was shifted to programs to help children, or programs to help the unhoused, or programs to help actual New Yorkers, it would go so much further. But instead, on every single corner you go to, there's some cop, some NYPD vehicle sitting there with some bozo on his phone doing nothing, wasting our tax dollars.
Yeah.
It's like, I just don't understand why there is such a heavy police force in a city like New York, where there aren't guns. Again, like I mentioned, murder is down all-time lows. I'm not saying you don't need any of them, but you don't need to be seeing them on every single corner.
Yeah.
It's just so excessive. Like, let the people breathe a little
Facts.
bit. So yeah, that's something that always bothers me in New York. You see all these blue pigs everywhere, just eating their donuts, eating their bagels, doing nothing, wasting the tax dollars money. And I'm just like, yo, man, your entire salary should be going towards giving a child free meals in school. Instead, you're sitting here on your phone.
Yeah, what are you doing? How are you serving and protecting the people?
Give me a break.
Real.
Yeah. So crazy. I mean that. Yeah, I don't know. It just always rubbed me the wrong way, especially when you see how many hundreds of millions of dollars the NYP is getting, and also all of the police officers, they've got guaranteed pensions. They're protected, so they can't even get investigated when they commit a crime by the police union. So yeah, there's just way too much power with that dynamic. Like, they low key operate like a mafia within the city. The mayor, the governor, nobody defund or say anything about NYPD, otherwise they throw a stink and threaten. It's just like, it's a dangerous precedent. Yeah. You guys are supposed to be helping the city, not stealing money from it. So yeah, I don't know, that's a frustration for me. But
yeah, no, genuinely, that is huge, because I feel like we just talked about in our Amsterdam video, talking about the police presence there and how it's not as much of like a threatening presence, where it's more so like, there's a police officer riding their bike down the road in Amsterdam, and you're like, just a person,
Yeah, exactly.
Whereas here, it's like, and in New York City, it's just like, I don't know, you feel so uneasy, you feel on edge, you're like, what are they going to do today, sort of thing,
exactly. Yeah, exactly.
So it's a much different sort of feeling, and having a huge police presence does bring anxiety.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, that's the most unsafe I've felt. I mean, I've taken the subway at 2, 3 a.m., never felt unsafe before, but I've felt most unsafe when I'm walking past tons of officers that are congregating on the corner of a random street in the city. So yeah, that's something that I could go without. Yeah, that's definitely not one of my favorite parts of New York City.
No, definitely
makes me want to cross the street, and we're over here innocent, and we're like, yo, I'm not going anywhere near those high school grads.
No, genuinely. I mean, we literally saw that last time we were there, just like huge group of police, and we were like, what
are y'all doing?
Happening?
Yeah, get to work, man. Get to work, man. Shit's crazy. But yeah, so those would be some of my drawbacks. The trash, the city itself, just the concrete everywhere, the police presence, the smell. Yeah, some of those things are exactly what you expect from a big city. They're less than ideal, but you'll basically see them in any big city you go to.
It's very true. Yeah. Just at different varying extremities.
Yeah, 100%. But overall, I think, did you have any other drawbacks, or are you feeling pretty good about those?
I think I'm feeling pretty good. I don't know.
I guess I just thought of one while I was asking that question. It's just like how old the infrastructure is.
Yeah, but not in a good way.
Yeah, definitely
not in like a historically characteristic, beautiful way.
No, it's like the trains and stuff like look like the ones that Europe throws away. Like, it looks like they send
them to us.
Yeah,
they're like, we don't want this.
They
train
strip
anymore.
out all the good technology and then send the trash over. It's just like a lot of the trains in New York City, despite the fact they are functional, I say functional, but they look like some of the first trains ever invented. And so that is, again, it speaks volumes to how far behind American infrastructure is to the rest of the developed world, because there isn't a single country in Europe that you will go to and see trains as shitty as the American trains that are in our subways in New York City. So yeah, a little bit of something that I think they know needs to be reinvested in. The cars need to be replaced. The train lines need to be upgraded. The security needs to be upgraded. The safety measures need to be enhanced and upgraded as well. So we know that, like, those are pretty glaringly obvious things that need to be fixed, you know. So that's an issue with the infrastructure, and that is why, you know, it can be tough sometimes. But at the end of the day, yeah, it's still better than no infrastructure. So
that's true.
I'd take some old shit over nothing any day.
Genuinely.
You know, take what you can get. Beggars can't be choosers.
Facts. Yeah, and like any of the cons or negative things that we said do not even outweigh any of the positives that we
and I feel like that's why we started with the positives, because, you know, the city is the shining pinnacle of the United States. It is our biggest economic output. It is our biggest melting pot. It is our most diverse city. It is the most and best in a lot of things in our country. And so that is why it's redeemed as such a high place. And when you talk to Europeans who want to visit the United States, there's only one city they mention: New York City.
Yeah, everybody wants to go to New York City.
That's it. No one, the rest of the United States is a pass-by town. You know what I'm saying? What are you going to do? Go to a Sheetz in North Carolina and give me a break? Ain't nothing to see here. You're going to go to New York City.
Of course. Yeah, of course. It'd be the most comfortable place for anyone from another country to go to. Because you have the access to the trains. You have the access to walking. You have access to so many different things.
So true.
You can, like you said, get off the plane and not have to touch a car.
Yeah.
So it's the most accessible city that anybody could go and visit. And it's a melting pot. So like, you're not only able to get around, but you're also able to feel comfortable because there are so many different cultures around you.
Exactly. Yeah. Which is, like, again, so cool. Like, no state is wired like that. No state is representative of our, like, I don't know what to call it. How, like, all of our different blend of races and peoples and stuff. No city exemplifies that better than New York City. And that is, again, really, really cool.
Yeah, genuinely so cool.
Yeah. And then also, I mean, even for us, when we were coming back from a European trip, we were abroad for a couple of months. When we came back, we went straight to New York City. We landed in New York City because we knew it would be the best way to, like, ease ourselves back into, like, American life. So going from that European mentality of walking everywhere, biking everywhere, training everywhere, having shops on every corner, our brain was wired for that after a couple of months. So when we were getting back to the States, we were like, what are we going to do? Well, we had to go to New York City.
Literally had to, because otherwise we were going to have to get in a car and drive.
Yeah.
Like, we were like, do we really want to come from not driving for multiple months and then go and have to drive everywhere?
No, we did not want to do that. So we went to New York because we knew we could walk places. We walked to Battery Park. We worked in Battery Park. Like, we were walking to our coffee shops, like, all of those things. It was a nice kind of taste of what we were coming from in Europe. And so it was a nice way to, like, transition back into American life, because it was
our way back in.
It's tough getting back here and having to adjust to getting behind the wheel of the car. And that is one of the beauties of New York City, is that you don't have to drive. You can train everywhere.
Yeah, which we love.
Yeah,
I wouldn't bike there. I know we kind of said that. I personally wouldn't do it, but it's available.
It's available.
You wouldn't catch me doing it.
Yeah, it's available, but I agree with you. I won't be biking in New York anytime, unless I'm biking through, like, Central Park or something. Fair enough. That would be fine, but I'm not going to be biking on any streets or roads where cars are.
No, thank you.
Pass on that. But I think overall, New York City, by far the number one city in the United States. So many positive things about the city. It's such a special place. There's a reason that so many people want to go there and want to go see the city of the lights. And we know why, because it is such a special place, and is by far the best city in the United States.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fully agree.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
that's why
we've been
people
all
want to
over.
go. Yeah, literally,
We've been all over.
we
There's
have
really
been.
no city that comes close in terms of the things that New York offers. In terms
Facts.
of the amenities, accessibility, and infrastructure, it's just unmatched. So, yeah, shout out New York, New York, New York.
Yes, shout out.
We'll see you soon. But for now, yeah, those are our thoughts on New York City, a place that we've been a few times and thoroughly enjoy every time we get there.
Facts. Yeah. So if you made it this far,
Thanks for watching.
and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Peace. Shout out Zoran.